What is up, guys? I hope everybody had an awesome weekend and welcome to today's video. For this one, we're going to be looking at the midweek Premier League fixture taking place on the 6th of December, that is Wednesday night, between Manchester United and Chelsea Football Club at Old Trafford. The last time these two sides met was on the 25th of May last season. Both sides were kind of chasing European spots, United looking for those top 4 spots and Champions League qualification, while Chelsea were still kind of putting their name in the hat for the Europa League. Things started off better for the home side, the Red Devils, when in the 6th minute, Casemiro found himself on the end of a fantastic free kick and was able to just head the ball into the back of the net. Chelsea's misery was compounded when in additional time in the first half, Anthony Martial was played in following some very intricate play by the United attacking third. Chelsea's misery was further compounded when in the 73rd minute Bruno Fernandes was awarded a penalty. Now, I looked at this one over and over again and I genuinely don't feel there's enough in it for Bruno Fernandes to go down the way he does. But he makes a massive meal of it, he goes down very dramatically, and the referee does figure out that there's enough contact in his eyes for there to be a penalty. Personally, I think that's the kind of stuff that we'd like to kick out of the game. Anyway, he gets the penalty and slots it past the keeper. Cool as you like. Finally, Chelsea's misery was concluded when in the 78th minute, Marcus Rashford was played through again, and he kind of has to force the ball into the back of the net because the keeper does make a save. And it's 4-0 to Manchester United before Chelsea eventually get a consolation goal courtesy of a fantastic solo run by João Felix. For United, this was exactly the result they needed. They needed to stamp their authority on their rivals and just make sure that they wrapped up a top 4 spot. But for Chelsea, it just sort of put their entire season into perspective. They just were not clinical enough. In all honesty, both sides did have fantastic opportunities to put the game to bed. It was just that United were a little bit more clinical. And that says a lot considering how wasteful I genuinely feel they were on the day. We start off our team analysis with the home side here, Manchester United. It has been 2 wins, 2 draws and a single loss in the last 5 for Erik ten Hag's men. Their last match being a disappointing 1-0 loss at Newcastle. A player I think who has really sort of come into his own this season for Manchester United is Harry Maguire. Now, Maguire has been on the chopping block for a lot of United fans, but this season he's got a goal and an assist, and he was the standout performer for United against Newcastle. He's actually been the standout performer for United this season, which is incredible because he has by no means been a great defender. He's just been a good defender in a team of players who are just massively underperforming. And speaking of underperforming, next up I want to talk Andre Onana. Now, Onana might be one of the goalies with the best clean sheet records in the Premier League, but it does not translate to those performances in the Champions League. He's actually the keeper who's conceded the most goals in the Champions League this season. I think it was like 15. Onana needs to find consistency. He has days where he's just fantastic and other days where he's just god-awful terrible. And finally, I want to talk Rasmus Højlund. Now, I've already spoken about players at the back for United, but Højlund is actually the player with the most goals for United in the Champions League. I actually think he's right up there, I think in the top 3 or top 5 goal scorers in the Champions League with 5 goals. He's also got 5 assists, but so far those performances have not translated to the Premier League. He's kind of the opposite of Onana, where he performs really well in the Champions League and then he's just awful in the Premier League. You expect a bit more from this player who had so much hype about him when he joined United, and it just has not translated into good performances on the pitch. So I really think Højlund needs to find his form as well, and this is the perfect game for him to do so. Next up, we talk Chelsea. It has been 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss in the last 5 for the Blues. Their last match ending in a 3-2 victory at Stamford Bridge against Brighton and Hove Albion. Standout player for Chelsea this season, I really feel, is Raheem Sterling. 6 goals and a single assist for him so far. When Sterling plays well, Chelsea play well. That's not to say Chelsea are playing well. It's just to say they're playing better, and it's obvious because Sterling is playing so much better than he did last season. Next up, I want to talk Thiago Silva, a centre-back who's got a single goal so far, but he's been solid so far at the back. Thiago Silva, I feel, was brought into Chelsea to be a sort of leader, and he needs to do better on that front. I just feel like he's not playing that leadership role that everybody expected of him, not just in terms of leading the defense, but leading the entire team. And next up, I want to talk Enzo Fernandez. Now, Enzo was brought in as the future of Chelsea's midfield. He's supposed to be a midfielder who can both play deeper in, but also play in a kind of playmaker role. He has 3 goals so far this season, 2 of those goals having come against Brighton in their last fixture, but I still feel like Enzo has so much work to do, and thankfully he's young enough to have the time to be able to develop as a player. But I really do just feel like, in terms of being that midfield conductor, Enzo has a lot of growing to do. Okay, on to the head-to-head in the S3M2 Verdict. Now, the last 5 matches between these two sides have been one single win for Manchester United, being that last one, and then 4 draws. They've been kind of snooze fest draws, honestly, like 1-1 and 0-0. Going into that previous match, I actually expected that one to be a bit of a snooze fest as well, and it wasn't. It was the direct opposite. This one, on the other hand, I'm thinking might be one of those snooze fests. I think, just if you look at Chelsea's disciplinary record right now, Conor Gallagher being red carded in the last match and Reece James being red carded in the match before that, so those two already won't play. If you look at United, they're missing some crucial players. Creatively, we're missing, we're talking guys like Mason Mount, we're talking guys like Christian Eriksen. In terms of keeping the midfield solid and stable, we're talking somebody big here, Casemiro. Defensively, Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez, Amad Diallo. These are all guys who should be featuring for United, but they can't because of injuries. For Chelsea, this might be something new because we might actually get Nkunku featuring for Chelsea in this match. But I think another thing that we have to consider is the fact that Garnacho seems to be on some fantastic form right now. Back-to-back matches where he's scored. So if I say this is gonna be a snooze fest, I'm thinking not many goals. I do think both of these sides right now are in very similar places. Chelsea are 10th in the league with 19 points. Manchester United are 7th with 24 points. Now for United, a win today could jump them quite a few places, but the same could be said for Chelsea. However, I do just feel like the two sides are going to cancel each other out. I think offensively Chelsea are very, very good right now. Defensively they're lacking. I think United offensively they're okay. Defensively they're lacking. And it's a wonder to me how, despite the fact that defensively they're lacking, Maguire seems to be the standout player. Against Manchester City, United I think lost 3-0 or 4-0 or something like that, and Onana and Harry Maguire were the best performing players. It says a lot about this Manchester United team. I think, honestly, Erik ten Hag needs to stop trying to play Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford together, because the two of them just are not fitting in with each other right now. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked at Manchester United. I think one of the glaring ones right now is, theoretically, in this team, does Jadon Sancho elevate the team? Does he improve this team? Does that mean Ten Hag has to eat a bit of humble pie and just let Jadon Sancho come back in? And then the other big question that needs to be asked is, if Mason Greenwood is featuring in this team, does this team do better? Because at this point, United are kind of a club that is just not performing well, both on the pitch and behind the scenes. It's kind of like anything they do it just seems to take them two steps backwards as opposed to taking them one step forward. But I do think this one ends in a draw. I think the two sides cancel each other out. I think a 1-1 draw or even a 2-2 draw is very, very likely. But I just can't see these two teams being separated. It's actually very sad because if you go back just 10 years ago, these two teams would be playing this match and it would be so hyped right now because it would probably be a clash to determine who leads the league after this. But right now, that question is being asked by the likes of Arsenal and Tottenham and Liverpool and Manchester City. Manchester United and Chelsea no longer feature in the title race. They're just there to finish fourth or finish in the Europa League spots, which is actually very, very sad. Hi, thank you for making it to the end of this video. We really appreciate the watch time and the fact that you took some time out of your day to spend it with us talking about the sport that we all love. If you enjoyed the content, why not, drop a like down below or comment in the comment section. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. And I mean, while you are here right now, have a look at some of our old videos too. They should be appearing on the screen right now, along with that subscribe button. So you know exactly what to do. Thank you so much. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And have a great day out there. And we hope to see you again very, very soon. Thanks. Stay safe.